Overseas Filipinos contribute greatly to the national economy. Today, they continue to answer the call to give back to the country. For the next 3 days next week, they gather in Manila for the 3rd Global Summit of Filipinos in the Diaspora to hold discussions on how overseas Filipinos can help shape the future of the motherland. Now here to tell us more about the 3rd Global Summit of Filipinos is Undersecretary Mary Grace Tirona, Executive Director of the Commission on Filipinos Overseas. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Paolo.
Diaspora, or is it Diaspora? I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it or what it all really means, and I'm sure there are a few people out there who'd like to figure that out too.
Okay, it's a kind of sophisticated term, but to put it in very ordinary terms, no? These are our overseas Filipinos who have decided to, well, seek opportunities elsewhere.
Right.
And of course, while maintaining, as you know, we're very sentimental as a people, maintaining their ties with the country.
And over the years, it really has been quite the exodus, really. I mean,
they've not been kicked out in that sense, because exodus has that term, you know. No, I mean, the globalization phenomenon is just drawing us out. And as you know, we're also not only sentimental, we're very nice people.
That's true.
We are trusted all over the world.
In the most positive of terms, I mean, we've headed out there and sort of, you know, made our presence felt and sort of made homes for ourselves here and there, but always remain rooted here in the Philippines.
Correct.
Okay, so what is the Global Summit of Filipinos in the Diaspora all about?
To put it positively, I guess. It's really a coming together, a meeting of minds, and while we've always talked about brain drain, and of course of late brawn drain, you know, our technology and our construction workers and all these people are being drawn into the developed countries. The point is, there, as I said earlier, there's always that spirit out there, and they do recognize that at some point in their lives, you know, it's not even a payback. Many of them now, especially my generation who've spent like 30 years abroad or even maybe 40, 50, are looking forward to coming home.
Yes.
So it's important for the Commission to keep them, you know, in touch, connected. So this connectivity, while Facebook is there, again, the senior citizens are not necessarily always on Facebook, right?
I'm often surprised.
Some of us are digital divas, but some are still digital dummies, and they just don't have the time. So the face-to-face encounter always, you know, comes in, as I said, to keep that spirit alive. And from our data, it's very clear that our overseas Filipinos, well, we have the overseas Filipinos who are permanent migrants who have become citizens of foreign countries, and there are those who are the temporary workers. No? But our data shows that regardless of whether they come from the Ilocos region, the Visayas region, when the need for support, you know, comes around, like in the latest Haiyan problem that we had, they just come and give back, you know. And what we're trying to do, of course, is, give back to them too. And this is why I think the summit is very important, to keep them updated on what are the services, the new things going on in the country, and you'll be surprised. They're amazed, you know, for all the bad news that we you know, always come out with. There's
always some good news.
So there's always some good news down there. So we're sort of cultivating that positive outlook, no? And you, again, we want also to hear from them. So what have they been doing out there, and what can be replicated by other groups? So this global summit brings together overseas Filipinos, leaders and members of organizations to share the good things they have done. And as I said, this could inspire others. And today, of course, not even just the oldies, but even the contract workers whose terms have expired, no? They have gained so much experience, expertise, so they are a resource. And we talk so much about remittances, but it's more than remittances, no? This is what the organizations of the OFWs, the contract workers, are saying. Tap us. we have gained so much experience and expertise running shipping lines,
right.
Gas plants, and so on and so forth. And, you know, call on us. We want to share. And so this is something that government, you know, is now rationalizing. And how do we bring them, their brain, their brawn, their muscles, and their minds back to the country?
I mean, these people who have had, like you said, gained so much experience and expertise, you know, in their stays overseas. They're so hungry for a channel, for a way to really just sort of harness, you know, these things that they can contribute back to the Philippines and back home. What sort of numbers are we looking at when we talk about this diaspora?
Okay, from our stock estimates, again, we have to be very clear. Stock estimates, right? So our data shows, and this is gathered from the Department of Foreign Affairs, from the Department of Labor, something like 10.5 million Filipinos out there.
It's a paltry number then.
You know, we're not hegemonistic, thank God, you know, but we're all over the world in more than 200 destinations, not even countries. So what do you make of this population now? No? And more than, like, say, 47% are permanent migrants.
We've got some figures up on screen here. We've got 47% of that, you know, 4.9 million permanent migrants or permanent or naturalized citizens of other countries, 4.2 million temporary migrants, 1.36 irregular migrants or undocumented. And that, like you said, that brings up an amazing number, which is still an estimate at this point, you know, 10.5 million people.
You can cut it in half. There's still a lot of Filipinos
it'll still be an amazing number. Is there any particular area where we see our people
Most
sort of flocking towards, or any particular area or field?
Okay, historically, the American dream, of course, has drawn us to the United States. It's like 30% or so, no? But the development in the Middle East has drawn us also to that other side, the other part of the world. So Saudi Arabia comes in there, and of course the United Arab Emirates. Again, on the other side of the fence, you have Canada as a destination. And then Japan, of course, and of course up and coming now, it's not yet on the radar of the top 10, is South Korea.
Oh, really?
Well, the thing is, we are very, as I said, we're not only very attractive as hardworking and trustworthy people, no, but even in the households, whether they are household service workers or brides, we are sought, okay? And that is also why the Commission takes an extra effort to make sure that our pre-departure orientation for these potential migrants, you know, is really very informative, very realistic, because as I said, the American dream, probably there are people who had the Middle East dream or the Japanese dream, no, the Korean dream, because all the wave Korean pop things that they see, the romantic novels that you show on television. So we have to ground them. No? And then we're also working on, that's why the summit is so important, because we have to bring the associations to also help us, because we stop technically we're stopped at the borders, right? Of course, the Department of Foreign Affairs is our representative overseas, but again, you know, government cannot do everything. So the associations have come in to help in the arrival support work. You've been, I'm sure you've been abroad. I was a student myself, and without the friends who welcomed me, you know, our kababayans there, and we just connect the dots. Oh, isang ka ba galing? Taga Bulacan ka ba? Tapos, si ganun, taga ganyan. And then before you know it, your relatives, your comadres. So this is so important, the connectivity. And so we take our summitry very seriously. We hope that the next administration, whoever it might be, will continue, because this is just every 2 years. No? And then also, I'm sure ANC has also covered us. We had last December the Presidential Awards, which again happens every other year. We have now a pool of like 300 plus commendable exemplar Filipinos overseas, which we have to draw in and get them involved.
This is almost sort of like, you know, really just organizing and formalizing what was innately, culturally innate in us to sort of connect, want to sort of stay in touch and give back. This is something that we want to do, and this just gives a sort of shape and form to this cultural
Correct, and we're not even the only agency working on this. As you know, the Department of Tourism, of course, is pushing the balikbayan thing, no? But the Philippine Retirement Authority is now, as I said, aware of the generational divide, okay? And they are a very important partner in the summit because the healthcare issue, as you know, in the United States, it's very expensive, no? So we're also bringing in the idea of retiring and returning, and if you retire at 60 or 65, there's another 25 years to go, right? In today's demographic data. So harnessing even the retirees and providing the infrastructure, the social and the, not just the physical, but the social infrastructure for them to feel good about coming back, not to die, but to live.
Well, let's give them the details of this summit. It sounds like it's something that a lot of people will be interested in. The details are, this is going to be when and where?
Okay, this is next week.
There you go.
Yeah, Feb 20, actually it's 25, 26, and 27. The 25th, of course, many of them want to take a second look at Manila. So there is that tour of course, the National Museum is now a very important destination. And then the Intramuros area. No, so there's this balikbayan to the Malacanang Museum and so on. And then, of course, the next 2 days will be sharing. We have adopted a methodology called appreciative inquiry, meaning to say, again, the focus is on the positive, not on the negative. Okay, the negative is a given. Okay, so how do you rise above that? No, so we've invited speakers from government, as I said, to update them on what's new and what's for them, what's in the Philippines for them. So as I said, Vernie Atienza of the PRA, Secretary Butchabad, talking about governance and reform that we have initiated, and so forth. No, and of course, Department of Health talking about what we are also addressing now is the health of our migrant workers and so on. And then on the other side of the fence will be the diaspora speakers, presenters, and we have organized also diaspora, how shall I say, regional agrupations, no? So whereas the United States group is so strong, has been always strong, we have also worked on getting the Middle East group to organize themselves, to get in touch with one another. The European region people, of course, there's so many countries there, but we have formed them also. And the last, of course, the Oceania and the Asia Pacific. See, you can see we're so global.
It's true, it's true.
It takes a lot more interagency partnership to get all of this connectivity going.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fantastic summit. I'd like to say thank you to Undersecretary Mary Grace Tirona, the Executive Director and CFO, actually, of the 3rd Global Summit of Filipinos. Good luck, and this sounds like it's going to be a fantastic thing.
Thank you, Paolo. Thank you.
All right, folks, up next, celebrities and politicians attend Heart and Cheese Escudero's reception in Manila. And Retrospect will give us a sneak peek of their latest album entitled Retrospect EDM. Entertainment news when we return. This is Mornings at ANC.